Do you ever meet some people and you're like, well, you are the reason the angry black woman stereotype exists? I don't like having older black women as bosses. Most young black women don't, and there's always a fucking reason for it. I used to work at this restaurant called Souley Vegan, and I was so happy when that place shut down. It's actually reopening soon, and I still kind of want to. I forget if I made a video years ago about it, but if I didn't then, I definitely want to now. I'm sure I did in the past, but I need to update to just clarify like that's a place with health hazards and asshole bosses. But I remember I got hired for that job, and I'll put it this way. Usually, whenever I have interactions with black women, especially if they're older, it's a whole lot of ego, a whole lot of sass, snark, and attitude, and a lack of class and decorum. So it'll be something that could be communicated super easily, and they'll just like yell at you as if they're about to beat your ass, as if you're their fucking child. It's like, no, don't get fucked up. I remember it was so funny because or it's not funny. So the boss at the time, or the woman who ran the business, she came in for the day. And I remember she was strutting around like she owned the place. Because she fucking did. Of course she can strut around like that. But she was also a bitch. And I remember we had this young girl who worked as a food runner. And at the time she was like 15, 16. Adorable, adorable. And the owner comes up. And she's just like, and like she doesn't swear, or at least, but she's like, where is your t-shirt? You know, all the time you're supposed to have the Sony vegan t-shirt and nothing else. What the hell are you do? And she just goes off on this girl, yelling, and it doesn't let it go, and is just like, next time make sure this doesn't happen. And she's yelling at this teenage girl when the whole time all she needed to do was say like, oh, I actually want you to wear your Sodi vegan t-shirt from now on. I plan to change the rule that we've always had set in place where you can get away with wearing like any black t-shirt. Now it has to be like strictly Sodi vegan to not confuse anybody. And but no, she resorted to yelling and tried to embarrass this girl. Just for later in the day, I unzipped my jacket and she saw that I was wearing this big ass, bulkier, even more fucked up ass black t shirt, and she didn't say shit. Why? Because I didn't have soul in my eyes, and she probably could tell, oh yeah, that's to me, the girl who's probably gonna stand up on the fucking tables at any second and slit her goddamn wrists and start yelling about how fucked up this place is. So let me go ahead and not fuck with her. And so she didn't fuck with me, but it's like, I don't know. I don't like when I meet women who have that Tiffany Pollard, like, I love New York, head bitch in charge type attitude. It's like, you're not Nene Leakes. You're just a girl. You're just a lady. Like, even when they're shown the most respect, it's like, I'll put it this way. What especially makes me more sad is that as time goes on, it's like each generation gets happy that it's their turn to now be the abusive old lady. Not me. When I plan to be an old lady, I plan to be like those sweet old ladies you see that give kids butterscotch candies for no fucking reason. I want to be one of those sweet old ladies who will like sternly but happily give you life advice, because I've been in your shoes, where you can listen to me talk and I will bake you cookies and pinch your cheek and tell you how good you are and how your parents are wrong about you and how you are worthy of love. I don't get why some people just go through their life and they go from, damn, oh, these old people around me suck, to, oh, look, I can now abuse a child, or I can make that teenager feel bad about themselves, or, oh, look, someone I have any sort of power or control over, now's my chance to be the evil bitch. Like, get a fucking grip. Like that same lady, the lady who owned that establishment, it could be like a simple question. Like, actually, yeah, I remember one of the days that she was there, I think this was the same day, instead of just telling us that we weren't going to get paid, she just like was talking on the phone in the middle of the restaurant like, well, how am I supposed to tell my staff today that they're not going to be getting their checks? And then she proceeded to just like bullshit on her laptop, ignoring everyone, side-eyeing us occasionally the whole fucking time, and then left. And I remember I had to hit up the manager. I didn't hit up the owner because I thought, I don't need this bitch in my face. I hit up the manager. But you know what? The manager was also a stupid ass older black woman who then tried to sass me like, girl, why wouldn't you ask for your checks? It's like because she was loud as fuck in the restaurant, like announcing that we wouldn't get checks. So I was waiting to see if she herself, the owner, would remember to pay the workers herself. Why do I have to remind her to pay us? Like, you knew what payday was, she knew what payday was, why are we not getting paid? And then it, like, they were like, we're gonna have to wait a few days to give you your checks. Like, those bitches weren't gonna tell us, but then they wanted to shun me for asking. That's also a reason I had to leave my last job, because like there was wage theft going on at that job. And instead of anyone in a position of power being like, let's work this out. HR was ran by this sassy ass talking out the side of her neck black woman. Fucking Jasmine. Fuck you, Jasmine, to this day. And it's like, if I'm hitting you up with like pictures of my pay stubs and the exact dates and hours that I'm missing, and you're just like, okay, so what's the problem? Bitch, do math. If I worked several back to back 12-hour day shifts for several weeks, and my check only has 300, and my last check only had 200, and the math is certainly not mathing, you can like do your fucking job anyway. And then also, then the new manager we had for our property that I was working on, she also didn't do shit. So she like, the next thing you know, it's like I'm asking her like, hi, can you help me out with payroll, because payroll isn't like, they're leaving me on red, they're ignoring all my emails, and on top of that, da da da. And you know what happened? That bitch started finding shit to like instigate or get mad over, and it just became a huge thing where it's like, it's very like, I remember we had a complicated process for like clocking in and out of work, because no one's apps worked, especially for the days and shifts I worked. Like in the app, for some reason, on like Wednesdays and Thursdays, it would fuck up. So I had to usually manually fill out like a timesheet, like submitted time report or whatever the fuck they call it. So I'd have to online virtually clock in. Okay, came in at 12, left at 11, came in at 12 again, left at this hour, and clock in all my days and send it to her before payday. And my manager was the type where I would say, hi, I just put in my timesheet. Can you clock this in for, can you just press the approve button for me so it gets sent into payroll? And instead of just saying, like, sure, like, she'd be like, yes, I will. And then she wouldn't. And then I'd check, and I would be like, hi, I noticed it didn't get submitted yet, and payday is, like, I know that usually, like, we have to submit it before, like, Friday. Can it get submitted? She'd be like, yeah, sure. And then still wouldn't. And then it'd be 2 weeks in a row where it's like, okay, bitch, now you're, it's like, okay, now I'm owed, like, a month of money. And I asked her, it's like, okay, hi, so I submitted several timesheets, and for some reason they're not getting approved. Can you please, like, you know, can you do it real quick, especially before, so that I don't have a third week, because I'm starting to be concerned about my rent. And then instead of her handling it like any sort of adult, with any sort of, oh shit, I'm sorry, like, she could have just said, I'm so sorry, I've been wrapped up with all the chaos in this failing ass apartment building. She could have just said that. You want to know what this bitch did? And I want to call her slurs. I wish we need slurs for people like this. The only slur I can think of is the R word. We need more things. Oh, troglodyte is fitting. She's a troglodyte. I hate her. Ooh, so this, I'm not trying to say the R word. This stupid ass whore lashes out at me and starts catching an attitude. And then she catches an attitude so intensely that no matter how many times I'm like, I'm not trying to sass you or anything, but I did ask, and it's like time is going on, and she kept pushing back, trying to start shit. And then next thing you know, it's like now she has a beef with me, all because I asked her to do something for a third time that she said several times she would do, and then chose not to do for a whole month straight. All you have to do is clock into a website and press the approve button. And what's worse about this bitch, in fact, I'm gonna text her bad words in a second. After I'm done with this video, I'm gonna text that whore bad words. It's like, just log into your portal and press yes, yes, yes on some timesheets. It's not hard. But instead, she wouldn't, and then it became a huge issue, and then I had to contact the higher up, and then the higher up said they would fix it, and then the higher up instead tried to be all, like, tried to start even more shit, and the next thing you know, a mental breakdown, and the next thing you know, I just decided, okay, you know what, if I'm gonna work a job where I'm not gonna get paid and I'm being abused, I could just simply not show up, and then spare myself, like, the Uber funds and the stomach pains. And yeah, fuck that bitch. I'm gonna text her bad words in a second, actually, so maybe I'll cut this video short. Oh, the job I had before that, funny enough, like, I'll put it this way. I had another job at a more luxury apartment, and I remember we had a new manager, and she hated me from the jump, or whatever, and, like, she was like, you need to be organizing the packages in the back, blah, 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 blah. So I locked in. I made sure. Like, I even made sure I watched how other people organize the packages. I made sure every shift, it's like, okay, I'm going to spend either 10 minutes or even an hour if it's really strenuous to, like, look through all the packages, make sure that they're organized by apartment, unit number, by floor, by name. I'm gonna make sure I check to make sure each one is properly labeled, and I'm gonna have that place spick and span. But she would still go out of her way, like no matter how I did it, if I did it in cascading alphabetical order or the opposite or da 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 da, like it, she would still try to find a way to nitpick, even though it's like, okay, you would walk in and see everything perfectly fucking organized. In fact, I think she did it on purpose. She would just walk in there. She would come into work early sometimes just to piss me off, and then go in there and look around and then just like swap packages. But then you'd see her just like slightly scoot over shit that I already organized, like ever so slightly pushing things and pretending to do something. And then she'd be like, yeah, I don't know how you did it in there, but it looks messed up. But then when I asked her several times, I was like, okay, well, I know you say this, but so for the sake of me getting better at my job, can you tell me like what I'm doing wrong? Or like if you could even show me, because I want to make sure that while I'm here, I'm at least doing an efficient job and that everything is functioning properly. And she was like, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Just get better. And I said, I can't get better if I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So, as the manager, can you show me or tell me what's like? I thought I did pretty well in there. I spent 2 hours. And she rolled her eyes and I said, you can check the cameras if you don't believe me, but I did work 2 hours in there. And I'm wondering, like, okay, can you tell me what I did wrong? And she couldn't find shit to do. Anyway, let's just say she got to be such a fucking cunt that eventually, like, anyway, I'll put it this way. When I left that job, the most satisfying thing in the world, when I saw she took me off that fucking schedule, I said so many vile things to that bitch that even though she fired me, and she did it technically illegally, I fucking hit her with so many interesting insults that had her shook, that she was so irate that she went to HR, and HR tried to contact me for like a month straight. Like, we need to talk to you about how you talked about your boss, Kyasia. It's like, oh, well, there's nothing you, and it's like, you can't, and they kept being like, stop ignoring us. We're trying to call you and schedule a video appointment. I said, well, that's cool and all, but she already fired me and took me off the schedule without even giving me a proper warning or a proper firing. So if she's mad that I said she looks like she's built like the boss baby with her big forehead and even worse gut, she can go ahead and take that up with God. And yeah, I got my severance check, I got my pay, everything was fine. But yeah, fuck that bitch. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's just, actually, here's one of my first, ooh, I hated this job. I forget I even worked there as a teenager. So we have this ghetto ass apartment. Like in my city, there's a thing where if you're like getting disability funds or Section 8, then you have to work in a program where you give back to lesser communities or your own community. I fucking hate it because it's like I know it's giving back, but though it's like I didn't want to go to the ghetto, to these fucking lame ass transitional housing areas that always reeked of reed and feces every fucking where. But I still was in a good mood. I showed up polite, happy, ready to work, always happy to smile, and it was these super conservative ass, rude ass black ladies. In fact, from the people who got us jobs to the jobs we got placed in, it would be fucking cunts. Oh my god, I have like fucking 5 different stories I could tell you. I'll tell you the most frustrating one. So, I remember it was like one of my first, like the first 1 or 2 days of work. It was really early in the morning, and this lady just was like, here, I'll sit you here and I'll let you know what to do eventually. And so it had been like an hour or so of me sitting there quietly as this old lady is just typing on her computer. And this other old lady in the back is just typing on her computer, like an hour straight of silence. And I noticed there's a coffee pot, and I think to myself, I am a bit sleepy, and I'm not sure I quite need a coffee, but I would like one. But I don't just want to get up and help myself, because that seems rude. I should, like, well, I'll think about how to ask this. And so I just gently, very meekly raise my hand, and I don't yell or announce it rudely. I'm just like, because I was a very shy teenager. I was like, oh, excuse me? And I just looked to see whichever old lady lifted their head first, and both of them did. And I said, "Hi, sorry to interrupt. I had a quick question. Is that anyone's coffee pot over there?" And I had bad anxiety, really, really bad anxiety. But it made sense that I did because the world showed me it was a stupid fucking place full of harmful, ridiculous people. So this lady with her fucked up ass shake and go wig that looks like she got it off the fucking sidewalk out of the gutter, she gets her old ass up, and she like oh, she looked like the fucking chocolate lady from SpongeBob. She was rotting. It was terrible. She looked like she was a character in a Medea movie, like the lady who comes onto the porch and says, "Oh, this gyrating at a family reunion!" Like she was busted. She was worse than that lady, because that lady was actually fine as fuck in that movie. But and I know you're like, Tamia, really? You're attracted to the lady from that one Tyler Perry movie who says to stop gyrating at the family reunion? Let's not get into my weird kinks today. But yes, she was sexy. Let's not talk about it today. This bitch, old ass lady, gets her ass up and gets all up in my face. And she's like, yeah. She's like, yes, that is my coffee. That is my coffee in my pot. That is absolutely mine and it belongs to me. And so if you want to be so fucking disrespectful, then you need to go ahead and ask me to get some, or else and she just goes off. And then I'll put it this way, if I could rewind time, I would say exactly what my mom said to me. Like, and also what just because it's like, bitch, I didn't even ask for a cup. I just asked because it's like a normal person would have been like, oh, hi, young black girl who has manners. Oh, that coffee is for anyone to have. Would you like some? Or, oh, yes, that does belong to me. Did you happen to want any by chance, or were you just asking? There's why the fuck are you so. These old ass bitches work at these fucking jobs. And they get these jobs. And they're just like, you know what? I'm gonna come in with my fucking rotten pussy and my rotten energy and my terrible vibes, and it's like, it doesn't matter how clean cut and polite or whatever the fuck you are, I will hate you. Like, they'll hate you if you don't fit the standard. They'll hate you if you do fit the standard, because if they aren't gonna feel disgust at you for not conforming, they're gonna feel resentment for you if you start to seem like excellent or hopeful or better than them. It's just like, it's so stupid. I'll put it this way. Like, always trying to see young black hopeful aspiring women as enemies instead of people to help and give a leg up to. It upsets me. In fact, I remember when I was actually around that, I think that was the same summer too, the same job, a different relevant but still roughly the same job organization. They were like, oh hey, like, let's have a day where we like set these kids up and talk about careers and goals and stuff. And a lot of nice things happened that day. They had an awesome, amazing food buffet. Holy shit, I pigged out. And then on top of that, they had yeah, a few cute, like, a lady offered me a free dance class. It's a shame I didn't accept it, but you know, she was nice. And I remember a lady who no one gave a fuck about, she came in, and she, with her fucked up ass wig, they always have fucked up ass wigs, or like, they always look terrible. I'm sorry, like, it's like, you see why they hate their lives. Like, bitch, when you look good, you feel good. So I see why a bunch of these bitches are just terrible energy. I only had like one hot boss who was mean to me, and that was the owner of Souley Vegan. She was fine as fuck though, but also out of shape. Like, jeez. Well, let's not talk about it. Sorry, I'm getting mean and distracted. I had coffee today, my own coffee that I got myself, because I don't need someone else's coffee. What the fuck was that bitch's problem? Like, why'd she act that way? Sorry, I'm getting distracted. But anyway, at another job fair event, whatever, that was mandatory to attend, but still nice, I remember this lady came, like, older black woman. She could have been any, like, black people don't age, so it's like she could have been anywhere between like 20, no, more like 31 to even like 49. But she had talked about like childhood trauma around like being raped, abusive relationships, her own fucked up family, being in poverty, being judged for her looks, da 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 da. And I remember, like, no one else in the room gave a single fuck about her. They were all just on their phones or like fucking tuning her out, waiting for her to stop speaking. The room was dead. I was the only one who genuinely gave a fuck. And I remember I was so inspired by her. I came up to her when I had the chance and I was like, thank you so much for your talk. I loved it, da 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 da. She seemed like, oh, okay, thank you. And I got her social media, and I remember I talked to her on social media because I truly was inspired by her, because I think she was like a successful writer and this and that. And I talked to her. I was like, oh, this is so cool. Out of curiosity, like, would you be down to like have a phone call or like talk in person sometime? I'd love to hear more about your life and how you like persevered. And I also have similar goals as you, and I find you really fascinating, and your story of perseverance is amazing. You want to know what this bitch did? I think at first she said yes, but then later on, as time went on, the day we were supposed to, she just didn't contact me. So I just sent a gentle, "Oh hey, just wanted to check. Did you still want to do a phone call?" Question mark. And then she lashed out as expected. And then she just went on a rant about, well, adults have their own lives, you have to let them live them, and then just goes off about how it's like her time is her time and I'm not entitled to any of it and da 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 da. I didn't say I was. It's like these people are just schizophrenic and they have a voice in their head that's like, this bitch is out to get you. And the bitch is just like a teenage girl with bright eyed and bushy tailed energy who just wants to know about you and wants to do good. And like, if you're ever like, hey Tamir, you ever seem like a cynical, spiteful person, it's because I've been around a lot of cynical, spiteful people. And eventually you build up a hard exterior because you're just so fucking tired. You're just like, wow, you're a fucking cunt. And so I remember I just told her, I was inspired by you because I have gone through a life very similar to yours so far. And I thought that you were an inspiring, smart, intelligent woman who could give me life advice and be a wonderful mentor, comma, just like how you needed. And instead, you have shown me that you are absolutely not that. And I'm very disappointed in you. I hope you never talk to someone like this again, but I don't think you'll get the chance. And then, like, she saw it, and I like to think that stuck with her, but who knows with these people. I don't know, it's just so upsetting. It's like, do you think I want to live my life having to text old bosses saying, fuck you, bitch, you look like Questa Rhymes? Do you think I want to go through my life having to tell bitches, you look like a fucking knockoff Luther Vandross with box braids and get a fucking grip and go get lipo and therapy? I would rather not. I'd rather black women have a community for each other, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. It's quite concerning. It's quite concerning. And it's especially like, honestly, even in my own friendships with the younger, whenever I've made friends with a black girl who actually was around the same age as me, sadly it's been a similar experience. So the next thing you know, you could talk to a girl and she like, I think it's just like a thing in our community where a lot of us have ego and anger issues, and it's very frustrating because it's like, I'll put it this way, it's like, oh, I want to have black friends, but not if it means like, if a girl's talking about like how a guy gave her 12 fucking STDs but will still fuck him, and how and like always goes behind her back cheating and giving her STDs and shit. I remember this one girl, she told me, "Yeah, so, if I told him if he's going to do anal with me, do not do anal on the same week that he's going to do it with another woman." And he would respect that. I know him. And I kind of hesitated. I was like, and she kind of looked at me and she was like, "What?" And then I'm just like, "Do you think he really would though? Because what man in his right mind would?" And she just kind of glared at me like, "Why wouldn't he?" And I didn't say anything. I just made a simple face. And she knew what that meant. That's the face of, well, girl, he cheated on you like a bunch of times and gave you nonstop STDs. It's like, you already know the answer. And she got mad at that. And I just was like, nothing, no reason. And if you trust him, hey girl, do what's right for you. And she got mad at that. And then next thing you know, like, it led to a rift in our friendship where she was being passive aggressive my direction and super fucking weird and envious and a hater. And let's just say her boyfriend got exposed for being a pedophile and she's still with him. So yeah, it says a lot about her. And it's just sad. And millions of other times, it's one of those things where it's like, I would love for there to be community between black women, but it's like, if there's not hostility that is artificially made, then it's like there's just a layer where it's like, you can't be honest with your friends, you can't be real as fuck with them, you can't talk to them and be vulnerable. Like, if your girl gets a fucked up lace front, you can't tell her, or else she's gonna say that you're a hater. You can't miss one fucking dinner date, or else you're seen as the goddamn devil. And it's just, I don't know, that it just breaks my heart because I want there to be black women being not like, I want there to be an older black woman who looks at a younger black woman and goes, "Oh, I'm going to talk to you like I have sense. I'm going to talk to you like you have sense. I'm going to be respectful for you." Like, you should see children as the future, not as the downfall of society. Like, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy anyway, because if you talk to any kid like they're already a gangster or some sort of trollop, or like they're gonna fuck your husband, or like they don't care about the world, you aren't doing anything to make it into a world you want. Like, hell, someone even mentioned like how they'll talk to an old person and they were like, "Oh, hi, if you don't mind me asking, I see you rub Vicks Vapor Rub on your doorway. Can I ask, in the summertime, can I ask what you do that for?" And then the old person just responded, "These young kids don't know anything about fucking old tricks." And then proceeded to not tell them. And I pointed out, "Hey, how are they ever supposed to know these so-called old tricks if not even you tell them? Why are you going to mock them for not knowing and then proceed to not even tell them and still gatekeep the information?" And people tried to drag me, but it's fucking common sense. It's like, okay, yeah, like someone tried to be like, "We found the person who doesn't know the old tricks," and it's like, yeah, dumbass, that's why I made the comment. Because they're even worse, because it's like, cool, I don't know something that hasn't been taught. You mock me for it, even though you can teach me, and then you proceed to not teach me. I'm just saying. I just think black people need to learn how to talk to each other, because I'm getting so tired of like hostile interactions from young, from old, from all that, like all that. And I'm gonna like, it's like, like an older black woman coworker who's mad that even though I called in advance like an hour ahead of time that I would be 5 minutes late, you will still see them slam the keys and give you silent treatment. Or like, or braiders you contact and you'll contact somebody asking for certain a certain look. Like, oh my god, I have a million bad stories. That's also why I hate getting my hair done, because you'll talk to somebody and they'll seem okay online, but then next thing you know, they'll start being a bitch to you in person when you're getting your hair done by them, or when you're dealing with them. In fact, now I have to message a bunch of people actually and call them a lot of bad words, so I'm glad I remembered to do this. Whew, I have so many bad words to text a lot of people, but especially Latasha. Fuck you, Latasha. Mm. Oh, also relevant. I remember that at my old job, my old stupid boss, Kyasia, she was the type where it's like she'd see the other black women show up to work with like a tank top and leggings and Uggs on, with like a shitty oversized blazer. And then meanwhile, I would come in with like my little like Mary Jane heels, my skirt that reached about my knees, my actual cute blazer that fit my body. Like, and I'd actually show up well groomed and all that. I wouldn't just show up with my hair in a low ponytail with a scrunchie looking all fucked up. I'd actually have it done. And she would still come out of her way to be like, "You need to follow dress code. You need to be wearing tights. This is not appropriate, da 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 da," and all sorts of attitude. And it's like, bitch, you let your little cousin Nene work here, and she comes up with Uggs and yoga pants, and she fucking sits man spreading at the desk with no panties on. You need to clock her before you clock me, but we get it. You're just one of those people. I don't know. So shout out to the stupid older black women bosses of the world who have a lot of hate and envy and stupidity in their heart. We do not like you. That's why I prefer to work jobs where even if I'm working around other races, usually white people, it's just like that's a whole nother can of worms, a whole nother, like, it's still not the best, but it's still significantly better. I'm just saying, I've worked jobs where it's like I've worked around incompetent white people, but they'd still be like, "Oh yeah," like they just I just, if I had to describe it, having white bosses is like passive aggressiveness, and then having like, but still being able to like function at your job okay, and like nothing really matters. It's like you'll have someone to roll their eyes or scoff every now and then, but you'll work your shift, and then meanwhile, older black women co-workers or black co-workers in general, next thing you know, the smallest miscommunication and they're yelling at you or shoving you and being abusive. It's like, come on now, can we act like we have some fucking decorum? Really? Because now you're like, it's just feeding into stereotypes and making people, like, I'm just saying, let's not act like racist stereotypes of ourselves. Let's act like we are at a workplace and not Baddies East. Like, it's very simple. and treat others how you want to be treated. And if you have a chance to be kind to another black woman, be kind. If you have a chance to be a mentor, then mentor. Don't act like someone's bully or like their abusive ass mama. Stop trying to come into work acting like Precious's fucking mother. Like, how about you treat your, like, come on now. Like, no offense, I think that type of shit really holds the black community back, because we got fucked up ass leadership. And like, no wonder young girls are taking inspiration from like Instagram models or Shira 7 of all people, or like fucking online prostitutes, because it's like, because there's no positive black mentors that are truly healthy and consistent, like, and that scares me. Anyway, peace out.